true story, I had to bring up my Goodreads like list of books because this is the first year that I've read like over 100 books, and I have just straight up forgotten what I read. So that caveat should come with these superlatives. So this tag is about bookish superlatives. And superlatives are just something that you give out to your fellow peers at the end of like a school year. Usually you wait till like the end of high school, but we also gave them out, I think, in my like advanced and academically gifted class in 8th grade. I'm pretty sure I got most likely to succeed, and I am very clearly living up to that potential. So yeah, they're basically things like cutest couple, best athlete, best car. We had best car, which, by the way, my husband still gets mad that his Camaro didn't win the year he was a senior. Like, sorry, dude, the other girl had a hot pink Mustang. People are going to vote for that one. I feel like I had some friends who were, like, most likely to be late. Like, it really is kind of like goofy, fun stuff, and you vote on, the person you think it is. So this is a way of doing that with the books. And I just thought that was really nice. It's a good way to shout out books that I read through the year. I think Boston mostly did hers with releases from 2020, but I didn't read a lot of new releases. I just kind of read. I have to play catch up because I can't read stuff when they first come out. But so some of these are a little bit older and some of these are newer releases, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The first superlative is most likely to make a comeback, and Boston said this was a book that you loved more upon a reread, or a book maybe you didn't appreciate as much the first time you read it. And for me, that one is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. And I think it's because when I first read it, I was either in late high school or I had just started college, and it was good, but I didn't really appreciate what she was bringing thematically and symbolically to this story. Like, Atwood really crafted a good story here, and it's not easy to read, and it's not going to be everyone's favorite, and there are going to be people who probably shouldn't read it because it is got some really awful stuff that happens to these characters in it. But I really appreciated the craft that went into this more the second time I read it as a teacher than I did the first time I read it back in high school. The next superlative is Class Clown, the funniest book you read. The funniest book that I read this year was You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogel. It was so freaking funny watching this like second chance romance thing where this engaged couple is like pranking each other and trying to get the other one to break up with them, but along the way they realized that they were perfect for each other anyway. They just didn't know how to communicate. The scene where they are shouting at his parents from their second story window. That's all I'm going to say. I almost had to put the book down. I was laughing so hard. And I can't wait to reread it, honestly, because it was that good, and it was a short, sweet little romance novel. So that works out. The next superlative is Best Dressed, and that means basically prettiest cover. And I want to give a runner-up position to Woven in Moonlight, because I think that one was a really pretty cover, but I don't have a physical copy of that one. I also picked up a book today during a thrift haul that probably would have won, but I didn't technically read it this year, so it doesn't count. But I am counting this one because I read this last month, and it is another Margaret Atwood, Dearly. This book is so pretty. Please try to tell me this is not the most beautiful poetry book. And I know it's hard. Poetry books usually are stunning. People make them very like minimalist and delicate and lovely. It just has this beautiful like bluish pencil drawing of these flowers, and her name and the title are in like this shiny blue foil. It's just so pretty to me. I can't stand it. I didn't mean to give Atwood 2 spots on this superlative list, but here we are. The next is Cutest Couple, and this is another one I don't have a physical copy of. It's just the best romance, and for me, that was Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. Hands down, out of the 2 Brown sisters books I have read, that is the one that hit the most with me. I think that couple was the most solid. I really liked their relationship. I'm always down for a fake couple with like mutual pining, so that was really it for me. But I really appreciated the character of Danny and the character of Zafir, and I think they worked really well as a couple, so that's why this gets best romance. The next superlative is most likely to make you cry, which wouldn't probably normally be a superlative given out, but it's obviously something you think about with reading. A lot of books make me cry. That is a secret about me. I am a very weepy person. I will cry at the drop of a hat, but this book made me cry probably like 3 times. It just was I was a wreck because it was so just emotionally like jarring every now and then. And that was Far from the Tree by Robin Benway. I read that one this summer. It's on an ebook. And just the stories of those kids like finding each other after they like had been adopted by different families and then trying to find their birth mom, and they've all got this drama and they're all being teenagers and they won't talk to each other, and like, oh, it just made me so sad so many times, but a good sad, like it was a good sad. But that one definitely is most likely to make you cry. The next superlative is most dramatic. I don't think that necessarily needs an explanation, but it is what it is. But I went kind of tongue-in-cheek with this one, and I put The Love Curse of Melody McIntyre by Robin Talley, and it's funny because it's about theater, so drama. I'll be here all week. The Love Curse of Melody McIntyre was super cute. I listened to that on audiobook, and it's about a girl who works as a stagehand falling for the girl who has the lead in the School Musical. And apparently this play will be cursed if she falls in love. And I just thought it was very sweet and adorable. And as someone who does theater, it was nice to see, the crew aspect of theater being well represented. So the next is Most Changed. It's supposed to be a sequel that changed up everything, but I didn't read a lot of sequels. I don't read a lot of them anyway. I always forget that series are a thing. And I counted one of the other sequels I read later on. So for this one, with Most Changed, I'm going to say a book with the best plot twist. And for that one, I'm going to pick Empire of Wild by Sherry Demoline. That book, I had to pause the audiobook because the last like 25% of that book is wild. That is also a really good book. And it almost won Cutest Romance, which is very weird because it's not a romance novel. But it's a story about a woman trying to get her husband back. I love that. One thing to know about me, one of my greatest fears is people I love forgetting who I am and not being able to convince them that I am who I say I am. I think it's because in my formative years, I watched A Little Princess, and in that movie, the girl's father doesn't recognize her as she's being literally like hauled off to jail. And that traumatized me pretty bad. So I still have this fear that one day I'll wake up and my husband will be like, I do not know you. I'm going to leave now. And I won't know what to do with that. Well, that's basically what happens to this poor woman in this book. But the plot twist at the end and how it ends is just, it just changes so much. So that's going to be Most Changed for me, the plot twist of Empire of Wild by Sherry Demoline. Least Changed, superlative, is a sequel that felt like going home. And for that one, I'm going to pick Namesake by Adrienne Young. It's the sequel to Fable by Adrienne Young. And I know this one technically is an advanced copy. It doesn't come out till next year. But Namesake does such a good job of bookending that duology that it felt like it may as well have been one big book. And so I really liked and appreciated that it felt like I was just entering that world maybe a day after I left it. And I think that says something about the consistency of that author, that she was able to plot things the way she was. So that's why that one wins Least Changed. The next superlative is the last one on Boston's list. It is Most Likely to Succeed. It's a debut author that you should be watching. I picked You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson and Tweet Cute by Emma Lord. I like both of those for different reasons. I thought You Should See Me in a Crown, very cute. Just super adorable, very well written. I thought it handled some difficult topics very well with also having a super cute romance. Again, that was pretty high on my cute couple list. And Tweet Cute, I'm always a fan of things that basically rewrite the shop around the corner for me, because that's one of my favorite like love story tropes, is the secret pen pals falling for each other, but like in real life they can't stand each other. And this one just modernized it. So both of those are authors that I like what they did with the contemporary YA romance genre, and I'm really looking forward to what they do in the future. So one of the additions that I have is Most Likely to Be Late, and I put that one because I know that we had that, I think, as a superlative when I was in school. And for that one, it is a book you wish you'd picked up sooner or you read later than everybody else. And for this one, I am picking A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I still haven't even finished the series, but this was one of the first books I read this year, and it feels like everyone is so excited for more in this universe, and I haven't even finished the series yet. But it was a really good book, and I really enjoyed the world building, and I'm kind of upset I didn't read it sooner. So that one wins this superlative. The last one is Most Athletic. I put that because maybe it's from being in a high school where athletes were like the thing. So you usually had a most athletic. And for most athletic, I'm putting a book with the best action sequence / most tension. And for that one, we get The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. This book, anything after the Sweat Lodge, I couldn't breathe right. I had to put the book down. I was uncomfortable, and it was just one thing after the other. There's a chase scene at the end. There's a lot of action in that book. And honestly, the other Stephen Graham Jones book I read this year, Night of the Mannequins, could probably also fit in this category. So that was my list of superlatives. I highly recommend doing this. This was like super fun, and it was a good way to categorize books. I'm always looking for fun tags to like put things in labels. So I really enjoyed working on this. Let me know if you have some things that you've thought of for these superlatives that I didn't even think of. Maybe you read something this year that fits one of the ones that I added to the tag. Maybe you disagree with me about one of the ones I picked. I would love to hear your thoughts. I'm going to go play video games.